Hello some pilots, welcome back to the channel and welcome to our very first look at the Inibuilds Airbus A350 for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. The long-awaited Airbus A350 is one of the most advanced airliners flying today, so it's finally great to have it inside Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. And we're going to start off this tutorial with a cold and dark startup, focusing basically on the MCDU setup and how to do that, because it's very different if you're coming from the A320. Now this aircraft is absolutely huge. It is one of the most advanced airliners flying today, so we're going to have lots of fun in flying this aircraft. First things first, we've got to make sure that we got our Simbrief profiles saved to Simbrief for this aircraft. I'll leave a link below the video for that. What you want to do is you want to head on over to the Inibuilds forum and grab yourself the Simbrief profiles for the A350 airliner. So follow the link below the video, it'll bring you to this page like this, and what you want to do is click on both of these pictures, obviously one at a time, and it'll take you to the Simbrief website, and it will have all the airframe information already done for you like that. And then you can click on save airframe and it'll save it to your Simbrief account. You want to do the same for the A350-900 and again for the 1000. With that done, we're ready to do our flight plan inside of Simbrief. And today we're going to set up a flight from Munich in Germany, and we're going to fly down south to Johannesburg, South Africa. So first things first, your airliner. Today we are Lufthansa, Delta Lima Hotel. Our flight number is 535. We're departing Echo Delta Delta Mike. We're arriving at Foxtrot Alpha Oscar Romeo. Our aircraft type, we're just going to go to our saved airframes. We're going to look for the A350-900, this one over here. And that's going to populate our flight plan for us. So we're going to head all the way down south. So we have HC call sign, Lufthansa 535. Everything else we can leave as it is. It'll pick our altitude for us. We have a block time of 10 hours and 5 minutes. Let's click on generate flight. Now I do get a lot of questions regarding Simbrief. It is free to use, but without a Navigraph subscription, it does have a little bit of an outdated AIRAC. So it's not really an issue. You can fly without a Navigraph account. You can use the free version of Simbrief to do this flight planning. It's really not an issue. Alright, so there we have it, our flight plan, flight information, flight plan summary, and our load sheet. We'll move that out the way for now, and then we'll jump back into the cockpit and we'll start the setup. Alrighty, and with that out the way, we are ready to jump into the flight deck and get started. So obviously if we climb in here, we can see we've got an absolutely fantastic, rather large flight deck, lots of space, really advanced airliner. Let's grab a seat and we get set up. Alrighty, so if you're coming from the A320 or the A380, everything should be quite similar. There's obviously a bunch of extra screens, a bunch of extra buttons, but the basics of it is all exactly the same. It's only the MCDU that's rather different, so we're going to focus on that today. First things first, you want to make sure battery 1, battery emergency 1, battery 2, battery emergency 2 are on. Then we can do external power 1 and external power 2. And there the aircraft is going to come to life. Right, while that powers up, let's focus on the overhead panel. And we'll go down one row at a time. So, crew supply can go on. ADIRS 1, 2 and 3 can be set to nav. Down the middle here, we'll leave the fuel pumps off for now. You can do your fire test if you want to. Battery all looks good. Whoops. Right, down at the bottom here we have some lighting, so we're going to go on the emergency exit lights. No mobile can go to auto. No smoking can go to auto. Seatbelts will leave it off until we've refueled. Logo lights are already on auto. Lav is already on 1. Wing lights we can leave off. That's it for the overhead panel. Right, let's go to the ORS and we can set up there. Right, first things first, you want to make sure you go through the options page. You want to set all of this up according to your preference. It's very self-explanatory. I'm not going to go through each and every one of them. Settings, you can go through the settings over here. Choose what you want, your aircraft units, etc. Your equipment, external throttle calibration, very important. Make sure you calibrate your throttles. Third party, you need to make sure you're stuck in your Simbrief user ID over here. Make sure you use your user ID and not your username. It must be the 5-digit user ID. You can put your Say Intentions API key and your Hoppy log on here as well, and make sure you've linked your Navigraph account so you got your Navigraph nav data and charts. With that done, we'll be able to get our Simbrief flight plan into the aircraft. So if we go to load sheet, Simbrief import, and that'll import the flight plan that we just created on Simbrief. Set 0 fuel weight, set fuel, and there we have our 314 passengers and our 71 tons of fuel. There we go, wing tanks are full, center tank is about a quarter, and with that loaded we are ready to start setting up the MCDU. Now this is where things are quite different compared to the A320 that we are used to. This will be a little bit familiar to you if you are coming from the A380. So basically at the top here you have your FMS, your ATC communication, your surveillance, checklist menu, and FCU backup. This MCDU is for the captain and this side is the first officer. You can see the cursor has two different shapes. So here we have a cross, here we have a circle, and if you switch between the two, that changes over like that. Once you've done this MCDU setup a couple of times, you'll see it's actually very similar to the A320. Basically, you're going to run the same process, going through your init page, your flight plan page, your secondary flight plan, your radios, your performance page, etc. So first things first, we want to click on active over here, and we can go to our init page at the bottom here. Click on it, and this is where it's going to ask you for your flight information. Now instead of punching everything in manually, we've got our company flight plan. So we're going to click on company flight plan request. It says request pending. We're going to give it a couple of seconds to get our Simbrief flight plan. There it is, received company flight plan. Let's click on it and go insert. And there we have our flight plan. Lufthansa 535 from Munich to Johannesburg, our alternate. There's our company route. Cruising flight level 370, cruise temperature is minus 56 degrees, cost index of 160. Now over here it's also got tabs we can follow as well, so from there we can go to the departure page, nav aids page, fuel and load page, takeoff performance, etc. And here we have our messages tab at the bottom over here that shows our messages. We can clear it, and it could also show the message list. It will show you the last 4 messages that have been received. Alright, let's close that again. Go back to active at the top of here. After init, we want to check our flight plan. So here is our flight plan. Everything's generated all the way down to Johannesburg. And what we want to do is we want to stick in our departure. Now there's 2 ways we can do this. We can click on the departure airport over here, and we can click on departure. Or if you're back on the init page, you can just click on departure over here, and it's going to give you your departure page over here. So we want to select the runway we're taking off of. Now if we're following the Simbrief flight plan to the T, we're going to get it over here. So let's go to our operational flight plan. So here it has got a runway 26 left, and the departure is the Turbo 7 Sierra departure to Turbo. So let's go back to the MCDU, runway 26 left, SID. Now you can scroll down over here, and to do that we're going to use the buttons over here. So we're going to click on SID, and we can click on the down arrow over here. We're going to go to Turbo 7 Sierra departure, no transition, temporary flight plan, insert, and there we have our departure inserted over there. Now if you want to compare it to the chart, here we have terminal charts over here, Echo Delta Delta Mike, departure, Turbo 7 Sierra, that's not that one. Oh yes, it's that one. Alright, so we can take it off 26 left, going short left down to Turbo. So that's the chart for the departure. We'll leave that there because we're going to reference it just now. Okay, with your departure stuck in there, we can go back to the active page. So after flight plan, we want to do our fuel and load. Our 0 fuel weight, we're going to get back from our load sheet. Our zero fuel weight is 172.6 tons. We're going to round it up to 172.7 tons. Now to type, you double click there. Now there's two ways to do this. You can use the keys over here, 127.2, and press enter. Another way to do it is to use your keyboard, and before you start typing, you click control once and it'll say keyboard input active, and then you can go 172.6, enter. It'll jump to the next box, our zero fuel weight CG 30.14, so we can just do 30.1. Alright, click on enter again. It'll jump to our block fuel, and our block fuel for this flight 71,000 kilograms, or 71.0 tons. Enter. There we go. Pax numbers, we have 314 passengers today, so we're going to go 314 and enter. Now if you look at your KCCU down here, we have all the keys over here. We also have shortcuts to all these pages, so you can use your buttons over here as well. It's quicker than actually clicking on your pages over here. So we have direct to performance, init page, your nav aid page, your checklist menus, which we'll get to, flight plan page, etc, etc. You have all your keys down here. Here you have your radio page, which we'll get to in a second as well. Right, so with the fuel and load done, we need to go and do the performance page. Now to do the takeoff performance, we need to click on our takeoff performance tab over here, and we need to calculate our takeoff performance. So first things first, we want to sync from the FMS. It'll get our information, so our airport, which runway we're taking off of, and over here we need to sync the weather. So that's going to give us our winds, our air temperature, our QNH, etc. And then we can click on compute, and that's going to do our takeoff calculations for us. So we have V1156, V-rotate 159, V2164, flex 42 degrees. We can click on send to FMS, and if we go back to the FMS, we can say confirm takeoff speeds 156, 159, 164, flex 42 degrees. Next up, if you're flying on VATSIM and you want to set your score codes, another two ways to do that. You have your surveillance page over here, and this is where you can interact with your transponder. So you can set your squawk code from here. Another way is to do it on the radio page, is you can go to squawk over here, and you can set your squawk code over here, and then you can go back to your radio page to change frequencies over here. If you're flying on VATSIM or you want to use ATC, you can change your frequency, and then you just switch it over like that. And with that done, basically your MCDU is set up for a flight. Now this is just the basics to make sure that you are ready to fly. Now we'll get the checklist over here. First things first, you want to make sure before you do your engine startup, is you want to make sure that your APU is on. So we're going to go overhead panel, turn on all the fuel pumps, ready for our departure. Start the APU. Turn on our seatbelt signs now that we have refueled. While the APU starts up, we can go ahead and set the FCU. So our QNH is 1021. Constraints can go on. We don't have an altitude restriction on this departure, so we'll just set it to our transition altitude, which is 5,000 feet. First officer side, we can turn on constraints and maybe terrain, and just like that, everything is set up. Alrighty, so we're going to go here. We have our checklist menu. Now we have it over here, but we also have it, which is much quicker, I think, over here. So you click on checklist menu, click on before start checklist, gear pins and covers removed, fuel quantity of 71 tons set, takeoff data is set, barrel reference we have 1021 set, seatbelt signs on, ADIRS is set to nav. That's the before start checklist to the line, and then after that we'll do the doors, parking brake, and beacon. Right, let's tell GSX we are ready for push and start. So we're going to go to the ground page. We do have GSX integration enabled. Now it doesn't matter where I park, GSX tells me this parking is too small for your aircraft. So we're just going to ignore that. We're going to click on prepare for pushback and departure. Let's check on the APU quickly. Alright, APU is available. So we're going to disconnect the external power.
This parking is too small for your aircraft.
Alright, so let's go ahead and turn on the beacon light. There you'll see it has removed the external power. Now if you don't have GSX, you can use the built-in pushback over here. Just use your back, left and right, etc, etc. Alright, so below the line, doors are closed, parking brake is set, beacon light is on, and that is the checklist complete. And as they prepare for pushback and starts up, we're going to go through the process that we're going to follow. So exactly the same as the A320, we're going to make sure our APU bleed is on first of all. So we're going to put on the APU bleed. We need that to start the engines. We're going to turn the ignition mode selector to start, and we're going to start engine 1, and then we're going to start engine number 2 after that. We're going to go nose right, tail left. Release parking brake. Ignition starts. Start engine number 1. There we go, we have our engines over here. There we have N1 rising. Sounds great. Oops. Like we have the square that shows you which engine we focused on. There we go, engine number 1 is available, nice and quick. We're going to start engine number 2. And then you'll see that block jumps over to the other side as engine number 2 starts up. And there you have that thump as engine number 2 is coming to life. Okay, so it's parking brake. GSX. Confirm good engine start. And there we have engine number 2 available as well. And now we can do our after start flow, which is basically similar to the A320. I'm going to turn off the APU bleed. Turn off the APU. Set our nose wheel light to taxi. Come down. Set our auto brake. Now this aircraft is very smart. The auto brake, it already knows we want to take off, so it's got brake reject to takeoff because it knows we're in the takeoff phase. Down here, ignition mode selector back to normal. We're going to set takeoff flaps 1. We're going to arm the spoilers, and we're going to do our after start checklist. After start checklist, NCIS is not required. ECAM status is normal. Pitch trim to takeoff. Here we have trimmable horizontal stabilizer 30.7, and it is set to 30.7. There we go, flaps, you can hear those flaps, sounds great. So there we go, the checklist complete. And basically there you have it for our cold and dark tutorial. I hope you guys have many happy flights in this aircraft. It is a fantastic aircraft. I am still getting used to it, but I thought I'd throw a quick cold and dark startup and an MCDU tutorial just to get you guys going. As always, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.